American Pickers Frank Fritz unable to work again. Frank Fritz is unable to work again. American Pickers fans have been calling for him to get back on the History Channel series. However, he dealt with another setback. Over the summer, Frank suffered a massive stroke. His friend found the 58-year-old on the floor of his Iowa home. He was in the hospital for several weeks. Frank has demanded privacy outside his home ever since the incident happened. Some fans are upset with his former co-star Mike Wolfe for sharing personal details about his health on social media. Now, a new report has come out, and it shows that he may never work again. Per The Sun, Frank Fritz's longtime friend filed to be the reality star's conservator. He is unable to care for himself. That means Frank is not able to return to American Pickers. This latest update is sad news for fans who wanted him back. The Iowa court papers were filed on August 18. However, The Sun just obtained a copy of them this week. They reveal that Frank remained in the hospital a month after his stroke. He was released to a nursing home on August 19, the day after his friend filed to be his conservator. Because of his stroke, Mr. Fritz's decision-making capacity is so impaired that he is unable to care for his own safety or to provide for necessities such as food, shelter, clothing, or medical care, without which physical injury or illness may occur, the court documents read via The Sun. Mr. Fritz's decision-making capacity is so impaired he is unable to make, communicate, or carry out important decisions concerning his own financial affairs. Sadly, Frank Fritz doesn't have the full capacity to make his own decisions. He will need the care and guidance of his friend. In the meantime, Frank is still in recovery from his stroke as he receives medical care at the nursing facility. The conservatorship filing was necessary to avoid immediate harm to him. American Pickers alum battled health issues. Frank Fritz's friend has been helping him out ever since the stroke. In addition, a bank is the conservator of his financial affairs. This leaves many questions surrounding the former cast member and his antique store, Frank Fritz Finds. Frank has battled many serious health issues over the years. In March 2020, he underwent back surgery, which left him with hundreds of stitches and rods in his spine. However, Frank Fritz admitted that he was ready to get back to work on American Pickers. He was hoping to get his financial affairs back in order again. Unfortunately, the show fired him and replaced him with Mike's brother, Robbie Wolfe. Frank Fritz, the beloved star of American Pickers, has been a fan favorite since the show's inception in 2010. With his rugged charm, unmistakable beard, and passion for picking through America's forgotten treasures, he formed a dynamic duo with co-star Mike Wolfe. Together, they traveled across the United States, scouring barns, sheds, and junkyards for relics of the past, unearthing items that could tell a story, offer historical significance, or just be plain cool. But as seasons went on, viewers noticed something unsettling. Frank's appearances became less frequent, and eventually he disappeared from the show altogether. Speculation ran wild. What had happened to Frank? Was it a fallout with Mike, a health issue, or something else? For a while, fans were left with more questions than answers. Frank's health struggles. In 2021, it was revealed that Frank had been battling a number of health issues, both physically and mentally. He disclosed that he'd undergone back surgery, which had been one of the major reasons for his absence from the show. The surgery had left him with 2 rods in his spine and was a painful process of recovery. His struggle with Crohn's disease, an inflammatory bowel condition he had dealt with for decades, also contributed to his deteriorating health. But beyond his physical struggles, Frank was candid about his battle with alcoholism and depression, which compounded the difficulties of bouncing back. Despite his efforts to focus on recovery, the question remained: Would Frank ever return to American Pickers? Fans had hoped for a triumphant comeback, envisioning him back in action with Mike, sifting through the forgotten corners of America. However, the longer he stayed out of the spotlight, the more people began to wonder whether Frank would be able to return to the show or even work again. The rift between Frank and Mike. As if the health concerns weren't enough, a seemingly deep rift emerged between Frank and Mike Wolf, the show's other half. The friendship that fans had come to love and respect on screen appeared strained off-screen. Frank admitted in interviews that he and Mike hadn't spoken in years, even before his departure from the show. In a 2021 interview, Frank was open about his disappointment in how the situation had been handled, stating that he felt pushed out and that there was a lack of communication. He mentioned that while he was recovering from his health issues, he had hoped for more support from his longtime friend and co-star. Instead, Frank claimed, there was silence. Mike, for his part, took to social media to express his sadness over Frank's health struggles, but it did little to mend the fractured relationship. Fans were left wondering if the two would ever reconcile, with many hoping for a reunion on the show. But as more time passed, it became clear that American Pickers had moved on without Frank, bringing in new personalities and focusing more on Mike's solo journey. Is Frank unable to work again? As of 2024, Frank's future in the world of picking remains uncertain. His health, both physical and mental, has been a significant barrier to his return to American Pickers, or any kind of work that demands strenuous activity. Recovering from back surgery, managing Crohn's disease, and staying on top of his sobriety journey are challenges that Frank faces every day. In 2022, a devastating stroke left Frank in a fragile state. The stroke, which occurred at his Iowa home, resulted in hospitalization and a long, slow recovery process. Fans were heartbroken to learn of his condition, with many sending well wishes and prayers for his healing. But as time went on, it became evident that Frank's road to recovery would be a difficult one, and it cast further doubt on whether he would ever be able to return to work, let alone the rigorous schedule of filming American Pickers. Close friends and family have indicated that while Frank has made progress, he's still dealing with the after effects of the stroke, which has impacted his mobility and speech. The once energetic picker, who would dive headfirst into barns and climb up rusty ladders, now faces a much quieter and slower-paced life. For someone like Frank, who thrived on the excitement of the hunt and the thrill of discovering hidden treasures, the shift in lifestyle has been a tough adjustment. Despite these challenges, Frank has shown resilience. His fans have rallied around him, offering unwavering support as he navigates this new chapter of his life. Many hold out hope that even if Frank can't return to American Pickers in the same capacity, he might still find ways to contribute to the world of antiques and collectibles, perhaps as an advisor, a consultant, or even hosting a less physically demanding show. Frank's legacy on American Pickers. While it's uncertain if Frank Fritz will ever be able to work again in the capacity that he once did, his legacy on American Pickers is undeniable. His eye for unique items, deep knowledge of antiques, and down-to-earth personality made him a beloved figure in the world of reality television. Frank's picks weren't just about the monetary value. They were about preserving history, finding beauty in the forgotten, and giving new life to old treasures. For over a decade, Frank brought joy to millions of viewers who tuned in to watch him and Mike traverse the country. His infectious enthusiasm for the rusty gold, hidden in people's backyards and garages, inspired a generation of pickers, collectors, and antique enthusiasts. And while this time on the show may be over, his influence remains. The antiques world has continued to thrive, in part because of personalities like Frank, who brought the thrill of the hunt into people's living rooms. Collecting and restoring antiques has become more than just a hobby. It's a way to connect with the past, to appreciate the craftsmanship and stories behind the items that shaped America's history.